What's up, guys? Hello and welcome to today's show. Today we're going to look at the game, yesterday's game, that was Manchester City versus Brighton, and we're also going to look at the massive game this Sunday, Super Sunday, Spurs versus Arsenal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So first things first, let's go over Brighton versus Manchester City. Well, I was hoping for a draw. In all honesty. Brighton, they're decent at home, but their form this season, especially past December into the new year, hasn't been very good. Manchester City, they got on the ball, they do what they do, they dominated possession, but you would think play a low block, try and catch them on the break with the pace of Welbeck, try and be hard to break down, but Brighton were just so easy to crack. Just not a tough nut to crack whatsoever. Manchester City scoring 4 goals, which would be good for their goal difference. De Bruyne scoring a fantastic header. You also had Alvarez and Foden on the score sheet. And I think Akanji scored as well. So they scored 4 goals. Without Haaland. And listen, for us Arsenal fans, we were hoping for a draw. That didn't come into fruition, but at the end of the day, Arsenal just have to do their job, and that's win every game till the end of the season and see what happens. Manchester City did play well. Haaland wasn't available for selection due to injury, and that was sort of, I think it was JB O'Hara on TalkSport, he said, do Manchester City play better without Haaland? And that is an interesting thing. I don't think Manchester City have gotten used to Haaland, and I don't think Haaland have gotten used to Manchester City. I think it's a little bit of both. I think last season, because De Bruyne was fit most of it, I think that De Bruyne had a fantastic relationship with Haaland. I think Gundogan also had a good understanding with Haaland. I think Mahrez playing sort of helped Haaland. But I think the fact that De Bruyne has been injured a lot of the season, they haven't been able to sort of replicate that partnership that they, sort of made last season. Gundogan going, Mahrez going. So they've got different sort of wingers playing on the wings. So I do think that Haaland is suffering with not having that continuity that he had with certain players from last season. He's still a top striker. He's still, for me, the second best striker on the planet behind Harry Kane. But it'll be interesting to see if Haaland does come back into the team when he is available for selection, or if he sticks with Alvarez up front. It'll be interesting. Haaland is a top player. He hasn't been at his best. Confidence might be knocked a little bit, but I have no doubt when he's available that he's going to get back in to the Manchester City starting 11. As for Brighton, they're safe. They haven't got any real, anything to play for. They've got no real urgency to play for anything. So, it is what it is when it comes to that game. Manchester City putting the pressure on Arsenal yet again. So, Super Sunday, Spurs versus Arsenal. The most important North London derby for many a year. Now, I'm just going to be straight. I think Arsenal are going to win that game, and I think Arsenal are going to impose their will on Spurs, and they're going to silence that stadium and the supporters in there. Now, the gaffer needs to keep it simple. Don't tinker. Don't do what you've done with Emery and Villa. Don't tinker. Don't put Havertz as an 8. Don't change the personnel. Don't put Zinchenko on the left. No. You play the same team that smashed Chelsea, and you hope that team's going to do the job and smash Spurs. Get some goals for. Listen, the first things first. The most important thing is the result. If we can batter them, if we can trump them, if we can get a lot of goals for goal difference, now that's what I'm talking about. But the first things first is the results. Now, from a Spurs point of view, I haven't really been impressed with them all season. I know everyone's got gassed up on the Ange Postecoglou and all that. Mate, let's keep it real. Defensively, they are frail. Maddison had a good first 10 games and he's gone off the boil. I know Maddison's a tidy footballer. He's got a nice touch, a little bit of technique, but he's just not all that, Bissouma's fallen off a cliff of his form. Van der Ven, he's quick, but that's about it. He slides all over the place. He's erratic. He's rash. Romero's rash. A lot of the characters that they had, Lloris, Dyer, Kane, those men knew what it. They knew what it was. This North London derby. They would get, even if they weren't playing, they would probably get the starting 11 up for it. Now, a lot of those characters have gone. Hugo Lloris has gone. Dyer and Kane have gone to Bayern. Now, like them or not, those were big characters and those were big personalities in the Spurs dressing room. Now, I don't see what big characters and personalities Spurs have in this dressing room to really let this team know what this North London derby means. I just don't see it. I don't think Maddison really cares. I don't think he's that sort of personality. And I know Son's is the skipper, but he ain't too vocal. He usually does his talking with his playing, with his feet. But Arsenal, on the other hand, we know what it means. We've got players on that pitch that have played in many a derby over the years against Harry Kane, right? That I felt the pain, but I've also felt the ecstasy of victory, okay? And these men are going to know what it means. Players like Gabriel, players like Saliba, players like Thomas Partey, Declan Rice especially, he's going to be up for it. Oh, Declan, he's going to be up for it. Havertz is going to be up for it. He's always up for him, right? So I just believe there might be a storm for Arsenal to ride out, but we're better than them in every department. Technically, tactically, physically, mentality. Arsenal need to impose their will and the gaffer needs to keep it simple. Now, if Arsenal can win that game, the pressure goes back on City to win their game later on in the day against Nottingham Forest. And Nottingham Forest are fighting for survival. And I think Nottingham Forest are a lot more robust than Brighton. So they'll park the bus. They'll play 11 man behind the ball and try to catch City on the break, free kicks, corners, set pieces. And that's how they'll try and beat City. Bully them. Physical. Take your chances. So this weekend is pivotal for the Premier League title race and how it's going to swing. Right. There's going to be a lot of bragging rights between Spurs and Arsenal. Right. I'm already having a little bit of banter with some of my Spurs associates and friends. But this is a massive game. Spurs need to get into the Champions League so they can't roll over. Right? The fans, a lot of the Spurs fans will care how we want to stop Arsenal winning the league, and the Arsenal fans want to get, that bit of bragging rights, beating Spurs at White Hart Lane to win the league. I mean, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to win the league. But the hierarchy at Spurs won't give a damn. They're going to want a result. Ange Postecoglou is going to want a result. Arsenal are going to want a result, and they're going to want a result for their own reasons to try and get into the top four. And Arsenal are going to want a result to try and win the league. So it's going to be very interesting, but I'm very confident in my team, Arsenal Football Club, to be able to pull off the result, put the pressure back on City, and take a massive step to that Premier League crown. So that's going to end today's video. I'll be back after the North London derby, after Super Sunday, for a video looking at the results and looking at all the games and giving a Premier League review. Hopefully it goes Arsenal's way. So all that good stuff, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace.